Today we'll be talking to Rahil Fazelbhoy, who studied political science at UPenn and he's now currently studying law in the Government Law College. So, Rahil, to start off, could you tell us more about your time at UPenn?
Hi, Sean. Thanks for inviting me. Yeah, definitely. I was a squash recruit at Penn. I was recruited from boarding school in the US itself, where I was studying before that. Um, I was a varsity athlete at Penn for 4 years, where my class helped the team go from 14 in the country to number 3 in the country by the time I was graduating. Academically, I was a political science major, as you mentioned. I went in with the intention of studying PPE, which is philosophy, politics, and economics. But I decided to switch at the end of my second year because my first year when I took classes in PPE, I didn't really enjoy mostly because it was quite hard. I took a class on game theory, and I wasn't really following too much of it. It was a little complicated, the math aspect of it. So that made me kind of switch, and also many of my friends were doing political science, so I decided to take political science as my major. Also because the classes that I took were interesting to me. Um, I also minored in legal studies and history because I wanted to study law. That was always in my mind from the start. So my legal studies minor at Penn just solidified my interest in law.
That's a good experience studying in the US. So, what career opportunities do students have once they study law?
Oh, they have innumerable opportunities. I mean, the most immediate is obviously to become lawyers, and in that itself, there's two mainstream uh, fields that you can go into. One obviously is corporate, and the other is litigation, and both are very different in their experiences and in the work that you do. Corporate lawyers are more, or it's more of a desk job, where you sit and you look at agreements and contracts, um, mergers and acquisitions and all that. Whereas litigation is more, court related work, where you're filing cases and mostly arguing in front of the judge. Um, so depending on what the student is interested in, you have to make a decision based on that. Apart from the mainstream lines that you can get into after studying law, there's so many more. There's teaching. Many people choose to become professors in universities and schools after getting a law degree. Uh, some become journalists. Another line is to work for the government, become government lawyers like government pleaders or government prosecutors, the attorney general, state attorney general, um, solicitor general, and so on. Apart from that, there's you can become a judge. Um, then a law degree helps in so many other things also, like civil services. People also just procure law degrees to help them in their other careers. Like some even enter politics. Accounting is another popular choice. There are many accountants who are lawyers as well. Um, Consulting and management consulting. Um, there's so many. Literally, you can become anything with a law degree. And obviously, you can choose to study further also.
Yeah, I think studying law has a lot of benefits because you can pursue so many different things after a degree. So,
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, also like just the knowledge of law, just knowing the law uh, for your own good is very useful. Everyone ought to know the basics of law. You know.
yeah, yeah. So, what skills do you think a student needs before think of becoming a lawyer?
Uh, um, Basically, the most important ones would be just a willingness to learn and apply yourself, and a genuine interest in the law. um, there's many people who do who choose law for various reasons, be it money or fame or just self satisfaction. That's all good, but ultimately you just need to be willing to work hard. I mean, prerequisites for law are just basically for like any other profession, just a willingness to work hard and apply yourself. Apart
Yeah.
from that, I guess if it depends, what kind ultimately what you want to do with your law degree. If you wanna, if you're thinking of going into corporate law, then skills that you would need to develop while studying would be writing skills, drafting skills, communication, and negotiation skills is important in the corporate side. Um, and then if you're thinking of becoming a litigator and working in court and arguing before a judge, obviously you need advocacy skills. You need to be able to pursue the judge. Um, um, I mean, in the U.S., it's I guess you have to pursue the jury, but over here it's the judge. And and then basically communication skills, articulation skills, being able to express yourself and express the client's case uh, appropriately and in a convincing way so that the judge gives you a favorable decision. uh, Skills, I mean, you can't really have skills before you become a lawyer. So like I said, there's just prerequisites you need, which is basically hard work and a genuine interest in the law. And once you are studying, and once you eventually start working, you just pick up all the skills that are required on the way, because like any other profession. But things that you can do to help before that is just I mean, reading a lot, reading as much as you can. um, and I guess a lot of people also have uh, they also look at a lot of TV shows for reference of the law, but that's actually not really a good idea, because uh, you know as you know, yeah, you probably heard of popular law shows like Boston Legal and Suits and all. They just over dramatize uh, the realities. So it's good to, I mean, watch it just for fun and entertainment, but people should be careful not to base their judgment of the realities of the profession based on TV shows. Um, but yeah, that's basically it. Uh, I would say if you choose another another thing I've experienced or learned or heard about mostly is if you ultimately wish to choose corporate law, you need to be ready to basically sacrifice a lot in your life in terms of social, your social life and hobbies and all that, because especially at a big well-known tier one law firm, you have to be ready to give up everything because you're going to be basically working like a slave and even exploited. You'll feel like this is not where what you want to do. So people who are interested in making monetary gains in corporate law especially, they must be ready to just give up everything in order to work long hours, very scary hours. So yeah, that's it really. And if you're interested in litigation, then I would advise that patience is the virtue that you must have, because if in order to become famous and well known and become a good advocate, as a litigator, you need to be patient, because it's not like something that you can just become when you just begin your career. It needs years of experience and before judges and your seniors to be able to get all that, hone all those skills.
Okay, so I think that's great advice for students who want to or thinking of studying law. So, Rahul, thank you so much for your time, and I wish you all the very best.
Thanks a lot, Sean.